You're listening to theoutdoorstation.co.uk. It's a podcast. It's a magazine. No, it's a podzine.
Hallo, herzlich willkommen in Friedrichshafen.
Hello and welcome to this podzine from Friedrichshafen in Germany, the massive European outdoor trade fair located on the banks of Lake Constance, just across the water from Zurich in Switzerland. At this, the 14th outdoor show, there are 731 firms from over 40 countries representing more than 800 brands, all spread out across 11 halls, an open-air display ground totalling approximately 72,000 square metres. Yes, if outdoor gear and clothing is your big thing, this would be your nirvana. This is where the European outdoor industry come to see, fondle and order the goods you may be seeing on the shelves of your outdoor store, sometimes towards the end of next year. It's also the place where the industry gets to touch base with each other, schmooze new clients, source distributors, haggle with manufacturers and drink far too much German beer. Run over 4 days, there are very prestigious awards to be won, a huge amount of activities for exhibitors and visitors to witness alike, and a chance to chill out at the biggest multinational outdoor party on Saturday evening, with food, music, entertainment, tight-rope walkers, and much, much more. Needless to say, the noise on the exhibition floor on Sunday is slightly subdued. The Outdoor Station was one of countless press organisations from around Europe to attend, and we wanted to chat to as many award winners, innovative companies, old friends and interesting new contacts as we could manage in our time there. I hope this podzine gives you a general flavour of the event and perhaps whets your appetite for some of the products waiting in the wings for 2008. Any web links that we have to accompany the interviews can be found next to the podcast on theoutdoorstation.co.uk. The top-class international jury, which included from the UK, David Fisher from Seymour Powell and Graham Thompson from Trail magazine, presented 1 gold, 6 silver and 23 bronze awards for outstanding performances at the second Outdoor Industry Awards ceremony. There were 204 entries. To quote from the press release, this is what the jury had to say. The jury established that innovations in the outdoor industry are generally taking place in small steps. Evolution instead of revolution is the motto. With isomats, sleeping bags, tents and accessories, for example, the focus is predominantly on the smallest weight minimization or speed of use increase. Details are being continually enhanced. In the area of ecology, the jury saw further potential for innovation in the future. The product's entire eco-balance could be worked on here and there, and the use of materials that can easily be recycled must become more widespread, summarised the jury. Now, on with the show. Water purification has always been important, and perhaps in recent months with the changes to the water table in the UK, even more so. There are various systems on the market, all of differing weights and bulk, but the one I had never seen before was the ultraviolet light purification system made by Steripen. In fact, this was another bronze award winner at the show, and so I went to visit the stand and met Ed Folkwine, the president, who explained the technology and science behind the product.
Yes, we've taken a 100-year-old technology called ultraviolet light water purification and brought that from big commercial applications and made it into a handheld device that purifies water in 48 seconds for a 16-ounce or half liter and 90 seconds for a full liter.
Okay, well, if you just do a demonstration for me while you talk to me, if you would. You're taking this one item now. First of all, it runs off, AA batteries?
Well, this is our classic model. It works off of 4 AA batteries. We recommend lithium because they'll give a full 200 doses. The bulb will last for 8,000 treatments, so there's no worries there. It works off of a push-button system. You simply push a button and wait for a blinking green light, insert it into the water, and voila. Ultraviolet light is produced. The photons basically interrupt the growth of anything that has DNA or RNA in it. So we kill all the microbes that are bacteria, viruses, the full spectrum.
You were telling me where this unit is particularly of use to people.
This has really been for hikers to get started on. We've approached that niche very early on in our life, and it's been just wonderful. They've really had convenience of not having to pump, not having to sweat, and very simple to clean up is rag or wipe the water away, and you're off hiking.
What bugs and germs does it get rid of?
It gets rid of all of the viruses and bacteria, protozoa, cryptozoa, you name it. Anything with DNA in it. It basically vibrates it and breaks the chain so it can't replicate. So you're not going to get dysentery or any bad things in your stomach to ruin your trip.
And there's no taste implication, I guess?
No taste. The taste, for better or worse, is what you start with.
Okay. So with the duration of that conversation, I presume it's finished now. It's ready to drink that water.
I gave this one the 90-second dose, which will be good for a liter. So we're waiting a little bit longer than we should for this small 16-ounce. It would have been done in 48 seconds in another life. But the nice part about it is if I pull it out early, it'll just give me a red light. Right. It'll tell me I didn't do it long enough, and I know this one's in good shape because it's already had plenty of photons to kill those bad guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, the length of the unit is probably about 6-7 inches long there, and the head of the unit, the bulb, would fit inside the neck of a bottle.
Yes.
Am I right in thinking that it only needs to go in a short way for it to be effective, or does it actually need to be completely submerged?
Ultraviolet light you don't want out and around. So our patent includes you must have a water sensor on it so that it's fully submerged when it turns on. This
right.
has a...
So you've now actually put the bottle, slid it into the bottle and inverted the bottle onto the actual...
Right. Has a nice tight fitting. This is really a cool way to get purified water. If you're not really comfortable with what may or may not be inside the bottle you just bought on the street corner in New Delhi. So it's a wonderful system that way. In a plain glass of water, what's really nice is the photons are kept in using the surface of the water, which acts as a mirror, or the glass. UV will not go through glass or plastic or even paper, if you will.
Could you use that in something like a cig bottle, one of those aluminium bottles?
Yes, it's not. They're a little bit tighter, and we don't recommend them for the cig. But the cig's a very fine bottle, and we ask you to pour it into a glass and do it, and then pour it back into those lovely cig bottles.
But if it were to be a bottle or a similar brand that had a decent neck on it, there's no reason that it wouldn't work.
Absolutely, works fine. Doesn't require to be in any kind of a glass configuration or plastic.
Now, the other version there, which you've got, which looks like a slightly larger highlighter pen, really, it looks a very nice little unit. Yes,
this is our Adventurer. We also make a Traveler in wonderful silver and black that the executives go for. But the Adventurer is black and very bright yellow and very nice outdoor color that people appreciate. And we really made it for the elite hikers, the ones that want light. And I notice that you have a business that has light in it, so you certainly understand backpacking light.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we did is we made it as small as possible. The major way we did that was to go to a different battery form, so we went to 2 CR123s to generate the power, and made it about half the size and volume of our classic.
So if somebody was travelling, say, to Africa or whatever, and they were doing some obviously long distances, how are they going to sort the battery problem out?
Well, that's one of the things we won an award for here at the show, is our solar case that we sell as an accessory. It allows you to have a rechargeable set of CR123s in the pen that you can use while you're charging up your others using a case with a solar panel on it. It also has accessories to plug into a car or into a wall in a home. So you can charge it any way you want to, and if you're lucky enough to be in Africa, out in the jungle, you can just pop it out in the sun and be ready in 2 or 3 days with a fresh set of batteries.
That's fantastic. And again, just to describe that, it's probably a slightly larger than an average 2-pen little plastic case, isn't it? A very neat little unit there.
Yes, it's ready to go. So when you're going to go off the grid, this is the product you want with the solar panel.
Excellent. Well, of course, the final question would be the price point for Europe. What would the price point on both these products be?
We've made a wonderful thing in this day of rising gas prices. We're actually lowering our price 20% and increasing our bulb life by 60%. So now we have 8,000 treatments per bulb, which for me it'd be 45 years worth of 3 times a day use. So I'm going to have to put it in my will and testament when I pass away. But it's a wonderful product that this adventurer is going for 129 euros. And we've finally got our Steripen Classic below the €100 mark at 99.
Excellent.
And we think that's going to be a great price to really accelerate the sales.
And how have you found the show? Have people been very responsive to it?
Very responsive. We've signed some new distributors and talked to some great distributors that are helping us launch this around the world. We're pretty well set in the U.S. in terms of the outdoor market. We're just now concentrating on military and all kinds of sales in all of the categories. The blessing of this product is it can go into many different niches.
2 of the huge halls at Friedrichshafen were given over to Tent City, where you could see all the new ranges of tents from virtually every manufacturer. Over 700 tents. Well, as you can imagine, after a while it was easy to become blind to the different colours, shapes and sizes. And so a walk out into the central open-air ground was a welcome blast of fresh summer air. As luck would have it, the 2008 Golite tent range was pitched up on the grass in the middle of the arena, looking very welcoming. Equally fortuitously, Golite owner Coup was hovering around his collection, getting feedback from all the passing nationalities and explaining some of the unique features in the design. Naturally, I went to have a chat with him. Coup, we're out here on the tents. I see there's a whole new range of products here, and certainly a new colour scheme. So we haven't got time to go through everything individually, but just give me an overview of what's changed on the tent range.
Sure. What we've basically done with all of our shelters for 2008 is what we did for our backpacks in 2007. Take a large number of shelters that evolved one at a time organically over a number of years and replace them all with a range that was designed from the ground up to launch all together and to be a very coherent group. And so that the whole group of products is just as ideal a Golite group as an individual product is an ideal Golite product, which is to say that not only is each product clean, functional, simple, durable, attractive, but the group as a whole has all of those attributes also. Easy to understand, not confusing to the dealer, not confusing to the end customer. And so what we've done is really come out with 3 groups of shelters, each of which have between 3 and 6 different shelters. The first group, the Shangri-La series, comes based on the hex design. The hex is updated slightly to get a little taller, and it's now called the Shangri-La 3. There's also a Shangri-La 2, a Shangri-La 1, Shangri-La 4 Plus, 6 Plus, and 8 Plus. And all of these are variations on the hex design, our most popular shelter to date.
They're presumably the numbers are referring to the people it will actually house as well.
Correct. It refers to the number of large males with gear that they will house. And the 4 Plus, 6 Plus, and 8 Plus will handle several more large males and lots of kids and trimmer and shorter women with or without their gear. The 8, for instance, we have our staff meetings with 22 seated inside the 8 Plus.
Excellent, that's a good pedigree. Honestly, they're all, am I right in thinking they're all using hiking poles as a support?
No, the 1 and the 2 do. The 1 and the 2 are just shorter, they're as tall as they can be, and use the shortest adjustable hiking poles in their longest position. The 3 Plus, the 3, the 4 Plus, the 6 Plus, and the 8 Plus all come with 1 or 2 poles with them. They can also save the weight of the poles by being tied up to a tree or using a paddle or any other makeshift sort of item. We find that the vast majority of our customers are not using the jerry-rig type of setup to save half of a kilo on a pole. Generally, they're using the pole.
So are they coming with, as the old Hex 3 did, it came with a walking pole extension. Is that an option?
No, we've stopped doing that because we found the vast majority of our customers weren't utilizing that option. and so it just comes with the pole. If the situation changes and we've got a new Coke situation and everybody wants that old thing, as soon as we've taken it off the market, we can always make more. But no, that's not in the main line. One of the things that we're really proud and psyched about is the 8 Plus is almost 17 square meters, and yet it's less than 3 kilos and absolutely winter storm worthy. And so it's really mind-boggling what we've accomplished with some in this series.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of sort of the European market. What kind of customer would be using a tent of this size, A-frame, as I say, with that sort of winter capability?
There's a couple different types of customers for these. One is the large expedition. Instead of having 2 or 3 or 4 tents on an expedition, if one chooses to, one can take the 6 Plus or the 8 Plus, perhaps one of those with one smaller, and have that for an expedition. I think a number of guides would be happier if they could see their clients at night. Also, I think a lot of groups where you essentially have a few adults in charge of, responsible for a number of kids, many of whom are not their own kids. In the U.S., I think Boy Scouts, for instance, and also Knowles expeditions. The equivalents here in Europe, anytime you have a few adults responsible for lots of kids, 6 Plus and 8 Plus is a very attractive option because you can keep your eye on them. And the other thing that Kim and I think in terms of is when we fantasize about the ultimate car camping experience, we picture the two of us sleeping in the Shangri-La 2 and her Mazda Miata housed in the Shangri-La 8 Plus.
Cool. Well, I see there's those are the sort of the A-frame. There's, as you say, there's a good half dozen or so of those. You've now got a series of dome tents here in front of us, and I noticed some of them are single skin tents. So if you'd like to just give us an idea of where you're coming from, the design of those.
Sure. Well, the first ones that are really the most innovative are the Utopia series, and if you're picking up the theme, Shangri-La and Utopia groups, Xanadu and Valhalla, all different names for heaven, and because that's the feel that we want people to have when they crawl inside, and we think we've achieved it. Very light load, but then a very good sleep with lots of room and storm worthiness. The Utopias are the first dedicated freestanding tarps on the market, and we find that there's a lot of people who are tempted to go tarp. They see some of the advantages, but they just can't really get their arms around the concept. And when they see these freestanding designs that we have, then it's much more appealing and attractive to some people. It also gives you certain capabilities that you don't have with a center pole design like the Shangri-La series, and that is when you put it on snow, you can do all kinds of architectures digging into the snow that you can't when you have a center pole. So the Utopias come in a 1, a 2 Plus, and a 4-person design, and they are single skin, silicone impregnated nylon, just like all the Shangri-Las, but they each have 2 arcing poles crossing the top. They stand up to extraordinary wind force. Just a few weeks ago in Boulder, we had a wind come through that was about 155 kilometers per hour in a storm, and the Utopias, as well as the Xanadus and Valhallas we'll talk about in a moment, were all set up in the yard without their extra guy lines, their winterized guy lines attached. And trees were down, cars were destroyed, damage to houses, and yet not a mark, a speck, or any effect whatsoever to the shelters.
These shelters, is there going to be a footprint available, a ground sheet available that's going to be an optional extra?
The Shangri-Las have, as the Hex has had, a separate floor available and a separate netting tent available. The Utopias, which are the freestanding tarps, also have a separate floor available, but not a netting tent. We think that the customer for that product is not going to want a netting tent. If they really did, they would have chosen a different shelter among this group. So you'll notice that venting is a huge part of the design in all of these, perhaps nowhere more than on the Utopias. We have full side vents on the Utopia 1 and full on 2 sides as well as the back, so 3 of the 4 walls on the Utopia 2 Plus and the 4. The ventilation is absolutely key to achieve one wall of non-breathable, highly waterproof material and yet never have condensation inside. We've had them in warm, 100% humidity conditions with intermittent rain. So really the worst conditions to create some condensation and then shake it loose, and it doesn't happen. We've created enough ventilation that we always get enough moisture movement that condensation doesn't occur.
And a good pitch on the wall as well, which encourages water removal.
Absolutely. They're all set up so that it's very intuitive for the customer to pitch it in a manner that makes it incredibly strong. And so we've designed the vents to not only move air well, but to encourage that taut, obvious, intuitive pitch that will make them so strong.
And the final group of tents?
So the final group, there's two different names, but they're very, very close cousins. The Xanadu's come in the 1, the 2 plus, and the 4-person size. And they are 1.5 wall tents, which is to say that they're 2 wall in the vestibules, silicone impregnated nylon vestibules over no-seam netting doors. But in the main body of the tent, aside from what you call porches, we have Epic by Nextech fabric. And this is waterproof, just as the silicone impregnated nylon is waterproof, but it's extremely breathable. Instead of slathering silicone on both the face and the inside of the fabric, every individual fiber, every individual thread of the fabric is encapsulated in the silicone. But the interstitial spaces, the tiny spaces between the threads, is not. And so there's plenty of tension there to keep all water out, but it allows water vapor to escape in much the same way that a waterproof breathable shell works in clothing. And so you have the ventilation, because you can see we have the same type of design on very large vents on both sides of those. You have good air movement through underneath the vestibule, but in addition, you have no moisture buildup because of the highly breathable main body of Epic by Nextech.
I see the colour scheme has changed for this current range of tents. Obviously, we're moving to the next season, and there's sort of a mustard and silver colour, which is quite attractive. What's the situation now with the tents that are recognised with Golite, the Hex, the Trig, the Dens, the Huts, and so on?
They should definitely snap them up now while they last. I don't expect very many to be available around the globe come January 1st if they last that long. Several of them will be out well before that. The Hex 3s are already out of stock back in Boulder. Whatever is out in dealers is all that there is. And, by and large, those are all popular tents that we're selling just fine. We've cleaned up the line to make it easier for dealers and easier for customers going forward. But it's not really the case. In the last 6 or 7 years, we haven't learned how to go light durably and safely. We already knew that 6 or 7 years ago. What we've really learned over time is how to make going light more and more accessible to more customers so that it's easier for a customer to understand and perceive the value, to perceive the durability that was always there, but to make it more obvious, to make it more attractive, hopefully in certain cases, even with a tent, to make it sexy. And then we can help more people to lighten up and enjoy the outdoors instead of just the core following that we've not only had, but our own staff and owners represented from the very beginning.
Excellent. Well, that's certainly the fresh items that we've seen out here. Now, what I'd like to do is go inside with you and have a look at your foot range.
Sure.
We've just moved inside now, and I'm with Bill Dodge, who's the general manager of the Golite footwear. In particular, I wanted to congratulate them first of all because they've got an industry award here at Friedrichshafen with the Carbon Fire Trail running shoe, which is one of a massive range of shoes I can see in front of me here. So tell me, what's the secret to this particular product?
We're very proud of this award because it was one of 6 prizes that was given out in the entire show. So it's a great honor to get that award. And the shoe is completely different. We've essentially turned the idea of trail running upside down. The concept is called soft to the ground and incorporates a system built into it that actually mirrors what's happening on the trail. So every time you take a step, the outsole acts as a suspension system that mirrors the exact shape of the trail, that stabilizes a plate above that suspension system so that in essence it's flattening out the terrain.
And are we talking, it's called carbon fibre, but is there carbon fibre in the design?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's one of the only shoes that's using true carbon fiber in the shoe itself. And it forms a heel cradle, wraps all the way around the heel, and also extends up into the forefoot and supports the arch very well. It's very light, it's also very strong, and it's very stiff, so it really gives a very stable feel to the shoe.
And is this a unique product? Is there just one shoe like this, or are there several shoes with that feature in the range?
The Carbon Fire is a 4-shoe range, so both 2 shoes for men, 2 shoes for women. And we use this outsole concept also in a brand new product we call the VersaForce, where we replace the carbon fiber plate with a Pebax plate. And it makes it a little tougher, more durable shoe, more versatile shoe, essentially.
What's the customer base then you're visualising for this shoe range? Because it's a very colourful range. They're all looking very attractive. They're obviously all lightweight shoes, or they appear to be certainly, and very breathable. Are we talking trail runners, active people, hikers? Where's the marketplace for them, do you think?
We're one of the only brands that is truly focused only on the trail runner. So that's all we're thinking about. When we started thinking about this concept, all we did is went to the trail and took high-speed cameras and took video of runners on the trail to understand exactly what their needs were. The basic difference that we saw was there was a need for upper body stability, or what we call whole body stability, because people are flailing down the trails, and that's not necessary. When you think about 4-wheel drive cars, they can go off-road and keep the chassis fairly stable, and everything, all the active works is down below. Same thing with a mountain bike. It has a suspension system so it can keep the frame fairly stable. And that's the same thing with this. So the greatest need for the trail runner was whole body stability, or quieting the upper body.
You're introducing these products at the show into Europe, I can see. What's the response been like from the distributors and retailers in the area?
It's been a great show for us. We've really seen a lot of activity here. Certainly the silver medal brought a lot of people around to see these new exciting shoes. The comment we're getting back from the retailers and the distributors is it's really nice because it's something that's completely different to talk about. There's a lot of similarity in all the shoes in the industry right now. This is something that's very fresh and very new.
Many podcast listeners will recognise the blogging name of Lighthiker from Germany, Roman Ackl. Roman is an active, enthusiastic and well-respected blogger who writes some very detailed and thorough articles about all aspects of lightweight hiking in Europe and the gear used in particular. In fact, I know his blog, lighthiker.wordpress.com, will no doubt be full to the brim of technical information following his visit to this show, as I met up with him footsore and weary at the close of play on the Saturday evening, during the lull before the big party. So you must be possibly the first independent blogger to come and look at the show. So what's been your big impression?
Quite interesting. It's a big place where all companies come together, so it's really a chance to see them all. Obviously, it's not a big focus on lightweight backpacking, so the only very specialized company here is Golite. I haven't found any other. Maybe also Vago, but that's about all. So it's more or less major big auto companies.
Well, you've been here for a day, and you haven't managed to get through all the stands.
That's right. I missed 2 halls. It's really big. So if you come over, prepare at least 1.5 days to do it.
So what's your actual impression of on the trade part of the industry? You're seeing it possibly for the first time, where all the trade gather together. How do you feel their view of the outdoor industry is?
I think it's still kind of an old-fashioned one. So as I said, there's not a lot of emphasis on lightweight gear at all. You can see some lightweight gear, but it's not used as a selling argument. So what you see is the usual 3-layer, 2-layer Gore-Tex jackets, various forms of shoes, various forms of sleeping bags of all kinds. Nothing really that sticks out in terms of a really major step forward, either in the area of lightweight hiking or in the area of backpacking in general. So I haven't seen any major trend or any major theme at this exhibition, to be honest.
You've looked at a lot of stands from obviously from people from different parts of the world. Any particular ones that have impressed you as being nice people, really heavily into promoting the outdoors?
Yeah, first of all, the smallest booth I've visited was from Brian Vargo from Vargo Products, and he's a very nice chap, and I did talk to him quite in length. Also with Coup, who's the founder of Golite. That was very helpful and very interesting. So it was not only business related, but also outdoor related in general. So they really took some time not only to speak about the business itself.
So they shared a definite passion for the outdoors.
I would say that, yes.
And what are your thoughts on the Asian community? Because it's quite a few Asian stands here.
It's pretty interesting. So you see all those brand names, and then you recognize all of a sudden when you pass the Asian booth that they all come from there, yeah? With a different label on it, but beside that, it's totally identical. And you have an endless amount, like 10 or 15 Asian producers for different types of clothes, for example. So you really get the impression that whatever gets manufactured in Asia and then sent over with the different and various labels.
When you actually came to the show, have you found a lot of people understanding what blogging and podcasting is and the actual new digital media and a way of marketing?
I would say only 10% or so get it from the people I've spoken to. So most of the people don't even know what a blog is. Some other people were quite stunned when I've asked them about the weight of the gear. They knew the color of the gear and the various choices, but had no clue about the weight. So probably I irritated them with my questions, but they at least don't get it, what's in it from a lightweight perspective.
Do you feel that it's a show you'd want to come back to on a yearly basis?
Despite the fact that it's not focusing on lightweight gear, yes, because it's I guess it's a major place where all the major producers come together, so you can really compare and also can see what the Asian market has to offer in terms of service for the rest of the world. Yeah, I will come back.
And finally, are you enjoying the party tonight?
Well, it's funny, all those people supposedly living their healthy outdoor lives, and when you come to the party, they're only selling junk food to you. So that's kind of interesting. But aside that, the beer is good, and I'm going to stay here for a few more hours.
A quick thank you to all my guests for taking the time to join me on this Podzine, and to you, of course, for listening. More from Friedrichshafen will follow very shortly. And don't forget, any web links and details can be found on theoutdoorstation.co.uk. Until next time, take care, get out there and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Auf Wiedersehen. Wir freuen uns, nächstes Jahr dich wieder bei uns begrüßen zu dürfen.
This independent programme is produced and hosted by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.